That's really big news. I mean, when we came for Christmas, I knew that I didn't know how final things were.
Well, I don't know if I really knew either.
Okay.
But in the last month or so, I'm really realizing. See, it's hard for me to say it's final.
Oh, okay. So you're not there yet.
Well, no, I mean, I am.
Separated.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay, well, that's great.
So.
That's great.
I don't think she's done yet. She still has affection for him, and she's just separated, very separated.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. All right, I'm back and there's a new clip for this upcoming episode of Sister Wives, and it is all about Janelle Brown and letting Christine know that her marriage with Kody is done, or else that she is separated. And she kind of tamps down these expectations that Kody has already set that they're going to reconcile. And it has to do with Kody's idea about the patriarchy that has made her not want to be a part of the marriage anymore. And in other news, a troll that's known for the Brown families named Kendra Pollard continues to spread vitriol all over the internet by a new exclusive interview with The Sun, pretending as though she has the inside scoop about Kody and Robin, claiming that Robin is not a homewrecker, and defending Kody, claiming that Kody has been burned by 3 of the wives, even though back in 2016 she told In Touch that Kody was a snake, wanted to marry her, called Christine a brat, hated Mary, and didn't like Janelle. And now suddenly in 2023 she's defending Kody. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this woman, and I don't know why the tabloids continue to give her any sort of reference or credence, but The Sun is reporting and Kendra is going on record to defend Robin. So if Robin and Kendra are still friends, I would be surprised. And if Kendra is still doing this to the family, I would be not surprised. And if this is what we can expect in the weeks leading up to Christine's wedding, of people like vomiting all over her to make her look bad, sure. But it's gross. It's gross. And if she's still friends with the family and she wants people to believe that in 2016 she hated Kody and now Kody's somehow like been burned and is the victim in this situation, and now suddenly Robin is being defended by her, it's just so ridiculous. Anyways, and if that's the source The Sun is using for the Sister Wives, just take it with a grain of salt. So let's talk about this brand new clip, because it is Janelle and Christine talking about leaving Kody, talking about her relationship with Kody and why things are not going to potentially work out in the future. Before we do, can you please do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed by clicking on the subscribe button down below. Click on the bell so you can get notified of any time I go live or new content loads. And if you have something that you'd like to say, make sure to say it and share this video with your friends. Okay, in the very first part of the clip, which you saw in the very beginning of my video, she tells Christine that she and Kody have separated. Christine is having a hard time believing that Janelle is done with Kody because she's separated, not divorced, and that she still has affection for Kody, which is meaning there's a possibility of reconciliation. And then they further expand on this with this.
I think Christine has felt like I was getting the raw end of this deal for a long time. And she took action, and now she feels like maybe I deserve something better.
We're just gonna travel during holidays.
Yep, that's what I think too.
So like this time it was perfect to have like Christmas. Okay, so
She's gone.
serious. So
Yeah.
really, if Kody changed, would you ever want a full marriage with him again?
Yes, but I think it's unrealistic.
That was actually hysterical. Hysterical, because they thought there was someone in the room and they changed the like what they were doing. You know how like when you have little ears listening and so you pretend like you're talking about something completely different so the little ears don't hear what you're actually talking about? That's literally what Christine just did with the waitress, because she needed to get the tea from Janelle but didn't want the waitress to hear. Anyways, so you see Christine flat out ask her if she would get back together with him if things were changing, but Janelle doesn't think that they can change. I do wonder a lot if this marriage has been a mess for years. And if we're to believe Kendra Pollard Para, who's the internet troll, that their marriages have been bad since 2016, that is 8 years ago, 7 years ago. It'll be 8 years ago in January that their marriages have been bad, where Christine had been called the brat and Janelle had been friend zoned. 8 years of being friend zoned. Could you imagine 8 years of being friend zoned? No. Maybe 30 years of being friend zoned. I think Kody had a lot of people in his ears. This is just my opinion. But the way that this cult works, and just from people I've talked to, is that Kody was looking a little bit soft on TV. And he wasn't looking like a patriarch, and he wasn't looking like he actually had control of his family. And I think Kody got a little bit of an ego. He heard from some of his fundamentalist friends that he needed to look a little bit harder. I think Kody got into the manosphere and thinks that it's all about the patriarch. I think people in the cult told him that he needed to look more like a patriarch. And I think Kody decided that after years he was going to enforce the patriarchy. And I don't know if they had a patriarchal relationship before, but I think Kody was just more lackadaisical about it. And I think Kody was just more about, grifting and money and using the women versus actually enforcing rules and demanding that they conform to his rules. And I think once Robin came in and gave him that patriarchy, and then he had his friends in his ears about the patriarchy, I think his ego inflated to, no, we're going to do the patriarchy. And I just don't know how you can change from being, yes, everything is fine, everything is great in 2010, our wives all have a choice, they all have a voice, everything is by committee, to no, now it's not by committee, and now it's just the patriarchy. That's a huge dynamic that many people will not be able to handle. And if that's what he wants, he can't expect the wives that didn't sign up for that to stay around. Not to say that they didn't sign up for patriarchy. I just think the way that he enforces the patriarchy today versus before is different, if that makes sense. And I think Janelle is just not going to go along with that. That's just but yeah, I mean, it's good to see that she's very aware of that. And it's good to see that their relationship she has a friend that she can talk to. I mean, the one benefit of sister wives is that when you're going through a breakup, you both know the guy intimately and can bitch about the exact same things. Am I wrong?
I think it's how he's always been.
I think he's vastly different than he used to be.
Okay, I keep thinking like he's different.
He's not the same person.
I
couldn't be in love with who he is now.
He used to be more
courageous.
It's so strange.
I don't know who he is. When I realized that
maybe that's what's changed, because all of a sudden it just doesn't work for me anymore.
Like I'm so not attracted to anybody like that.
I don't know who Kody was before the show. I can only go off the lies they've told about Kody on the show. They all say that he has changed and he is vastly different. I feel like I've seen kind of the same person, just a narcissist that has gotten more and more and more delusional and more famous and more egotistical, and that surrounds himself with men now that make him feel like he needs to be a bigger man. And he's getting an inflated sense of importance and like patriarchal supply from Robin. I feel like the difference here is that before he was in marriages with women that weren't going to just bend to have his every need and not just give in to him all the time. And I feel like Robin came in and was like, okay, as long as I'm his best customer, as I treat him like my best customer and I do whatever I want to do in the bedroom, he'll do whatever I need him to do. And as long as I, tell him, oh yes, you are in charge, I'll get what I want. I'll get my money, whatever. And I think that gave him a sense of oh, well, if Robin can do it, everyone else. I feel like Robin really pushed this idea of patriarchy. And I think that it wasn't who Kody was, or else if it was who Kody was, he didn't show it as much. I've also wondered a lot if some of his changes in rage and appearances have to do with substances, if he's taking hormones, if he's on steroids. There has been increased anger and hostility in the last several years. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons and speculations here. They're claiming he's a different person. I feel like Kody is still the same jerk he always was. We're just seeing the real Kody. Does anyone else see that? Do you see what I'm saying? I feel like he's just become who he naturally is. He's just had a mask on for all those years, and he's no longer hiding who he is anymore, and they're seeing it. And once they stopped I think what happened for them is once they stopped placating him, they saw his real personality. Because as long as you're giving the oxygen and the supply to the narcissist, they're going to give you their best side. But when you go against them, that's when you're going to see their bad side. And that's who he is now. Oh, you're not going to do what I want? Well, then I'm going to show you. I'm Kody Brown, Mr. Megalomaniac. Just saying.
Like that.
You know, Kody used to be so dynamic and so bold.
And everyone always wanted to be around him because he was just always down for having a great time. But he didn't let other people control him. He was his own person.
He wants a wife who's all partnering with him and not independent. And I'm like, that will never be me. He's really advocating patriarchy, and I'm not that person.
This is an interesting juxtaposition because it seems like Janelle and Christine have very vastly different sort of opinions about what's happening here. Like Christine says that he used to be like the life of the party and he didn't let anyone control him. So I don't know, does she could be implying that he's being controlled by Robin. And if Robin is, like, a lot of people speculate she's like a coercive narcissist, and people that are coercive narcissists are very manipulative and conniving, and they're sort of always doing things behind the scenes, and like they create scenarios where they're controlling situations through their manipulations. And you could theoretically have a coercive narcissist and a malignant narcissist, which I think Kody is. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm just going off their personalities. Kody is very ego-driven and very like bombastic, and as long as you feed him this idea that he's like the best person ever, you could manipulate him to get what you want. But then he could also be manipulating her to get what he wants. So it's like this mutual relationship. What I think Robin did is she's manipulated the situation in that she's giving him what she thinks he wants, the power of the control, but then she's getting what she needs, which is the control of the family, the control of the decisions, without looking like she's the one making the decisions. And then I also think she's getting the resources that she wants, like the money. And then on top of that, I think she's feeding him this idea that like, see, this is what you want. This is how it works for you. This is the best thing for you. Because we've seen this season how she is very manipulative and how she sort of pulls his strings where it's like, you remember how it was last year? You remember how uncomfortable you were? You remember that? Do you really want to do that again, Kody? And then she makes him feel like it's his idea because he's like, no, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I thought I needed. No, you're right, Robin. You're right. You're right. You see what I'm saying here? Like, she's planting the seed and then manipulating it. She did the same thing with Mary. Like, do you really want to have people over at your house even though they didn't have Christmas at her house? You know what I mean? So I feel like Robin has pulled the strings a lot behind the scenes and has created a lot of this. And frankly, the people I've talked to that are from Robin's life that are not Kendra Pollard Para, that actually know her, that she blew up a previous family with her ex-husband, have all said that she's extremely manipulative. She's extremely calculating. She'll do things that are backbiting. And it's like what Christine said, like she doesn't trust Robin. She's the kind of friend that will say one thing to your face and then stab you in the back because she's always plotting what her next move is. Robin is just like, she's like a Black Widow. She's like, I'm going to kill everything and I'm going to be the one on the end and I'm going to be the last woman standing. And yet here she is and she's got nothing except for Kody, who's a miserable man. And when she didn't probably want to be the only wife, she probably wanted to be the head wife, believing her tactics would get her to head wife, not to being the only wife. She didn't anticipate that her tactics of doing these things and altering the family dynamic so greatly would push everyone out because it changed his personality and gave him what he wanted to be, inflating his sense of self. It's gross. And Kody is just a jerk to begin with. That's just my opinion. I fault both Kody and Robin here. Do I think that they started out with this plan to destroy the family? Absolutely not. I just think over time that's what happened. That's how kind of things got manifested. Now, there was a second clip that was posted, and this one is about Janelle's sort of next steps in her life.
I don't want Kody back at my house. And There's really no legal mechanism that says we're divorced. But I'm not at all interested in any other kind of relationship. I'm not interested in dating. I mean, unless God somehow throws this guy right in my path and points with big arrows, this is it, this is it, this is it. I'm just not interested.
You know, in fairness, no one's expecting her to go out and date right away, right? Like, you've been married for a million years, 20 some years, 25, 26, 27, almost 30 years, whatever it is. No one would literally expect that you would go out and date right away. I think why Christine doesn't think that Janelle is actually done with him is because when some wives separate from their husbands in plural marriage, they just live separately and then they don't date anymore. They literally just stay single for the rest of their lives and remain sealed to their husband. And it's sad because Janelle still believes in plural marriage. She still believes in this polygamist cult. She still believes in the theology around it. The brainwashing is still inside of her, which is really sad. And I hope as she extricates and like moves forward in her life, she gets away from this, because the cult that she is holding dearly to is racist. They are anti-LGBTQ+. They are very misogynistic. And so in the one breath, you hear her saying, I'm not for the patriarchy. And then the next, you see the actual reality of this cult. And it's like, I can't figure out where Janelle's disconnect is. How can she ignore the reality of what women actually face in this cult? The kids, the children, I mean, the violence, it's everywhere in this culture. And then the belief system of that, like, the white race is superior. I mean, that's in their beliefs. Rulon Allred, who is the founder of this group, has sermons about how it is the job of their cult to overpopulate the society with white children so that they can stop populations from growing that are of people of color. They believe that people of color are wicked and cursed and have the mark of Cain. They believe that they are superior. So I have a hard time recognizing and reconciling these vastly polarizing, like, dichotomies of who this person is on the show, claiming that she's just so accepting and loving and all of this. And then still, after all of this mistreatment, after all of these heartaches, she still believes in this, that these are the things that she values. It hurts my heart that this is the reality here. And I hope the longer she's away from Kody, she can wake up to this. Let's see what else she has to say.
So it's a new chapter for me.
It is a new chapter for you. How are you feeling?
I still don't know, but it feels optimistic and it feels like there's lots of options. This summer was looking a lot more exciting than last summer.
Last summer was hard. I moved last summer. I remember when I told you I was leaving, you did cry.
Did.
I remember
I
you
did
cried.
cry.
You cried over me leaving, not you leaving Kody.
Yeah, no, I did cry.
You did.
I knew that it was like, that's rare for me, so.
So in her confessional, Janelle had seemed to be like upset, although she didn't cry. She for sure cried with Christine leaving, but she definitely has not cried around the Kody situation. And Janelle's not like an overly emotional person. So I don't know, like, is it telling to you that, like, Janelle, the loss of Christine was actually like the loss of her family, but Kody was just the guy that provided the vehicle to her family, and so to speak. You know, he provided the specimen that she needed to have the children, and then nothing else. I mean, over the years, he's used her for money and for all of these different resources that she provided, even though he says he gave her those things. It's, you know, her family wasn't Kody. Although I wonder if privately she shed tears about the sadness she felt. I don't know. We'll never know, because we don't see these kinds of emotions on the show. We saw Christine cry a lot. And, you know, obviously Janelle and Christine have a good relationship, which they further expand on in the last part of this clip, which was posted by Entertainment Tonight. So they're going to talk about their sister wives relationship.
You cried then, but not with you and Kody. No. But we'll always raise the kids together. We're always going to be sister wives.
Yeah. Janelle and I have this bond. It's cemented together, and nothing's going to come between Janelle and I.
She's separated from Kody, but she's going to stay married to Christine. They had more of a marriage than Kody had with his wives, which is again why the recent articles that have been published by The Sun from the source Kendra Pollard Para, claiming Kody's been the victim of wives who have burned him after everything that he has done for them, is trash. It's all trash. These wives are courageous for leaving, and I only hope that in time, as they strip the brainwashing away of the cult that they've been sucked into for their adult lives, they realize that it was all a lie. It wasn't just a lie about plural marriage, it was a lie about everything. And that hopefully they can find happiness and safety and friendship with all diversities, all people of all kinds, and expand their horizons outside of this very small view of the world. And hopefully, as they have more freedom and they're not suffocated anymore in the belief system, they can find true happiness. It's nice to see Christine has found happiness, and I only hope that is the same for Janelle. But it sounds like Janelle is pretty clear that as long as Kody stays as he is, a reconciliation is not going to happen. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.